Well, my friend, I hope you're ready to rock and roll with this one because SummerSlam is in the history books for this year. It took place in Cleveland, Ohio, home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Had a very rock and roll feel to it. 57,000 screaming geeks in Cleveland Browns Stadium. And all I'll say for right now, before we get to the main event, I don't think I've ever seen as many happy people inside that stadium in my life.
Yikes. This was definitely a great environment for WWE with this SummerSlam. This isn't the first time it's been in a stadium, but this is probably the most important SummerSlam has felt in years. And this was a pretty stacked card from start to finish. I want to bring up the elephant in the room now about the show. First of all, I thought the show was great. Another banger of a pay-per-view by Triple H. It was solid from start to finish. But I heard a lot of people complaining that this was a story-driven SummerSlam, and I don't understand why that's a complaint. I thought every match served its purpose, and we got some very interesting story development. I don't understand how that makes it a bad thing. I would rather, again, I've said this many times on this podcast, but it bears repeating. We have every week Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, TNA Impact, MLW Fusion, AEW Rampage, AEW Collision, New Japan Pro Wrestling. So many independent shows going on.
TNA Impact
coming up the wazoo. I mentioned TNA Impact.
You did,
we have NXT on Tuesdays. We have NXT and TNA doing a partnership. There is so much wrestling every week that if one pay-per-view decides to spend it more on the storytelling side, that's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Like you can't have great wrestling without a great story. That's all I'm saying here. I think
this really went hand in hand. What is our number one complaint with AEW right now? It's all style, no substance.
Right?
Yep. If I want to see Will Ospreay put on an hour banger, I can see that all the time. I can see Spot Fest all the time. But after a while, when does that just become empty calories? I want something that's fulfilling, without jumping too much ahead of jumping the gun too much. If Drew McIntyre and CM Punk was just a match thrown together with 2 weeks build, with just two guys saying, I'm better than you on the mic, I'm sure it would have been fine. But I'm sure it would just been like, oh, that was a good match, and I would have forgotten about it.
Wouldn't have meant as much. Wouldn't have meant as much in the long run.
That this match was built since CM Punk came back in November, it just made it feel, when is the last time we've seen a match with so much stakes, with no titles on the line, just a straight blood feud? These the guys want to rip each other's necks apart.
Well, I mean, if I could throw out a joke about the match, there was a friendship bracelet on the line, if we're being real. If we're being completely honest.
Don't want to jump the gun too quick with this.
No.
But, every match, I was curious to see how it was going to go down. I think that's the best part about WWE is that you see every match on the card and you wonder, how is this going to go down? How is this going to finish?
Yeah.
So I think every match really just lent itself very well to this. I will say, I know it's funny. It's like I can never make up on my mind when it comes to this. There were 7 matches on the show. I would have been okay with 6.
Oh, boy.
It needs to be a 5-match card when it's an in your house style pay-per-view. But 6 matches for these big 4, I think would have been fine. I'm not saying they were cramming anything in per se. I heard people saying, oh, can they get a women's tag team title match? No. 8 would have been too much for this show.
I mean, if you cut out a certain segment that didn't land like they did, and if Jelly Roll didn't take 20 minutes to do his music performance at the beginning, you could have had the Bloodline title change over DIY on this show instead of on the SmackDown before, and give the hometown boy Johnny Gargano what he wants. Have him perform in that stadium.
I don't think it would have hit as hard. I think the crowd would have been dead. And, I know you have your complaints about that segment. We'll get to it, but it served its purpose. It was there to calm the crowd down. And, again, we'll get there when we get there. We're getting a little too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We opened up this show, and like you said before, Jelly Roll performed God Bless America.
What the fuck is a Jelly Roll?
He's a singer. If you don't know him, you don't gotta be a bitch about it.
No. I know who he is. He just like did like a good chunk of the soundtrack for Twisters, which I just saw not too long ago. And one of those songs from the movie, yeah, I mean, it wasn't as good as the original. I mean, thinking more about it. Yeah, I mean, he goes and he does God Bless America. He performs a song called Liar, which I think put him on the map. One other thing I'd like to mention before you intro this opener. Thank you, Hunter, for putting in a custom entrance stage. Thank you so much for doing that. I swear, like, they might have listened, like, somebody of influence must have listened to our podcast. I was complaining about it like nobody else, like, how much I miss these custom stages, and it wasn't a huge overhaul, because he still had a bunch of LED around everywhere, but it looked like, you know, like rock and roll concert speakers coming out of the tunnel. Like, I like that. It makes it feel different. Makes it feel like
definitely, especially when it became nighttime, like this stage looked really good. WWE's production is out of this world. And, you know, I'm okay with Jelly Roll performing after he sang God Bless America because he was performing the SummerSlam theme song, which was pretty damn good. And it was basically the intro to the show. Again, they're experimenting. SummerSlam is the second biggest show of the year. And instead of just doing your standard video package, they did a little something different here. I was watching the first half of the show on my tiny phone screen because I was out and about doing things. So I kind of skipped past this part right here. So, you know, yeah, SummerSlam was definitely an interesting viewing experience for me. And we opened up in a pretty big way. We have Liv Morgan defending her Women's World Championship against the returning Eradicator, mommy herself, Rhea Ripley. After Liv Morgan has been holding this title for a few months, she has had her eye on one dirty Dominic Mysterio. Every week on Raw, she's basically just trying to steal everything from Rhea Ripley, even when she's not on the show. She's flirting with Dirty Dom. She's, you know, getting involved in all of his matches. She's actually responsible for Finn Balor and JD McDonough returning the tag team titles back to the Judgment Day, helping them get a title shot, and helping them win against Awesome Truth. Dominic Mysterio ain't fooling anyone. He's basically saying, leave me alone, Liv. Leave me alone. I want nothing to do with you. It wasn't until an episode of Raw a few weeks back where Rhea Ripley made her return, and mommy was not happy. She was all over Dominic Mysterio. She was just like, get away from her, you're mine. And it's basically the first time in like 2 years where Rhea Ripley has become more affectionate to Dominic Mysterio than ever. The next week on Raw, they bring Liv Morgan out to the ring, and Morgan is saying, oh, say those 3 words that, you know, you want to say. And Dom gets on the mic and he says, I hate you, Liv. Liv Morgan starts
That's
crying.
4 words.
Rhea Ripley licks Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did she lick him?
Why did she lick him? What is he? What does he taste like chicken nuggets or something? Is he that tasty?
He just, yeah, with the ketchup, with the ketchup, not spicy because Dom can't handle spicy.
No, so the honey mustard. The honey mustard.
The honey mustard. Honey mustard is pretty good with the chicken nuggets.
That's right.
On the Go Home episode of Raw, Morgan has this like pre-taped promo where she's like surrounded by candles and she's saying, I'm gonna get you back, Dom. And like it was a crazy. Liv Morgan's character work in this angle has been out of this world. She has really been elevated to the next level. She's the champion, but she's going in like she has something to fight for. It's very, very different.
She's the underdog.
Yeah, it's Ripley versus Morgan, the anticipated rematch ever since Ripley was put on the shelf and Morgan won the title while she was gone. Dirty Domino. I almost said Dirty Domino. Dirty Dom is in tow with Rhea Ripley for this match. Ripley continues to lick Dom on the way to the ring. It's very, very, very strange.
She whispers in his ear, which is classic Judgment Day. Like when Dom first joined, Rhea would always whisper stuff in his ear, and we would always wonder what Dominic heard. Like, what is Ripley telling him? It must have been like, I appreciate our time over the 2 years that we've had together. And Dominic had a very bittersweet smile on his face, and you know what's coming. You know what's coming here. Not to bury the lead.
This match started off a little slow, a little clunky. Like, it was basically like, I hate to compare matches to this because I like Liv Morgan. I don't think she's, I don't want to say that great, but that solid of a wrestler compared to everyone on the roster. But she has been working her ass off. So I just noticed the match was a little clunky. They had a little hard time getting out of the gate. People are going crazy over this spot where Rhea Ripley dislocates Ripley. I mean, Liv Morgan dislocates Rhea Ripley's shoulder
Yeah.
during the match.
Yeah.
And Ripley's like, oh, I can't feel my shoulder. I can't feel my shoulder. And then she rams into the barricade to push back in. We've seen this spot before. I don't know.
She rammed into the announce table. Like,
yeah,
dude, if this match does not solidify, first of all, Liv Morgan I thought was fantastic in this, like not just in the story. This might have been her best match, all things considered, because again, she isn't like top tier in terms of women's talent. I've always been a big Liv Morgan fan and a big Liv Morgan believer. I've always been rooting for her. If this match does not solidify Rhea Ripley as the best damn women's wrestler on the planet, I don't know what does. Rhea bloody Ripley. Like,
once they finally got out of the gate during this match, it got really good. But I don't know why everyone's talking about this spot. I feel like we've seen this spot before. What is it about wrestling fans nowadays where they'll see a spot that's been done a million times and they're like, holy shit, look at that. It's like we've seen this before.
Not once, but twice Ripley dislocated her shoulder. I don't know where else you've seen it. I don't remember seeing this ever, if I'm being honest.
The first thing that comes to mind is when Alexa Bliss faded that injury where she's double jointed. I know that's an incorrect term, but she like twisted her arm out of her socket.
No, I feel like that's right. Double jointed. Yeah.
I guess I don't want to go off on a tangent about that. I just feel like I talk to people in the medical field. They're like, yeah, double jointed. That's not real. It's just your ligaments are, fractured in a different way that lets your arm. Anywho, I'm getting way off topic.
Rhea, that's different though. Rhea's shoulder was out of the socket, not once but twice, and she had to pop it back in. Badass.
Like for real, for shoot.
I think so. It looks real to me. It looks real, brother.
Either that or Rhea Ripley's got some very
interesting talent,
like Alexa Bliss. Yeah,
it's an interesting talent to dislocate your shoulder on command.
Once this match got out of the gate, it got good. Like these two, it's like, I don't know, it's like they just needed to get their engine going a little. They had to warm up a little. And then once they did, I thought the sequences were great. I thought they were very smooth. I talk a lot about the big man versus little man dynamic. This was a great big woman versus little woman dynamic. We would actually get this twice. Both women's titles matches have this same theme here. And yeah, once this match got going, it got good. It was very solid.
Yeah, it was a very cat and mouse game early on where Liv was stalling for time, basically, always running away from Rhea. Rhea was growing even more frustrated. Dominic was trying to tell Liv, get back in the ring, and the crowd is really wanting to boo Dominic Mysterio, even though he accompanied the babyface to the ring. So
Liv Morgan has really come into her own as a heel.
Yeah.
Like, she was playing that perfectly in this match.
She was playing the coward just right. So these two go in there. It's really good wrestling, great selling on both sides. The way Rhea Ripley takes a DDT, by the way, like I think it's the best sell of a DDT I've ever seen. Like, because she does like a handstand and then it looks like she is on Mars. Like she doesn't have a clue where she is after taking the DDT. Really putting over the devastation of a very simple maneuver nowadays. Eventually, Rhea does hit a riptide and there's a close near fall. Ripley then goes for a steel chair, which Liv had introduced, and this is
real quick, I love that sequence, by the way, because not only does Rhea Ripley hit the riptide, she first hits it into the corner and then goes for a riptide in the middle of the ring, and I'm like, I know I'm not a big fan of kicking out of finishers. That was a really close and clean spot right there.
It was.
Once they got cooking, Morgan was really bumping her ass off for Ripley.
Yeah, again, I think being the opener really helped, propel this match up to another level, because the crowd was hot for this thing. They were absolutely into it. Ripley gets that chair, and she goes to swing at Liv, but Dom pulls the chair out of Ripley's hands, and he's like, you can't win the title like this. Like, you're going to get disqualified. This isn't how you win the title. And, you know what? Say what you want about Dom, but he's right. In character, absolutely. You bought that he was helping Rhea Ripley here. Like, you can't win the title like this. It's a DQ. Like, yeah. We don't like you, Dom, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
Everybody was speculating how this was going to finish, and I'm not going to lie, I was so much in the foreshadowing phase for myself that when Dom did that, I was like, what the fuck? And then after a few seconds later, I'm like, oh, he's still trying to help Ripley win the title. It's just very weird to see him take the weapon away from Ripley if Dom claims to hate Liv Morgan as much as he does. And I'm going to give credit, not to get ahead of myself. This whole show, it's like Triple H isn't stupid. He knows we see what's coming. So he books it in a way where, yeah, the outcome is what we were expecting, but the execution was not the way we expected.
Yeah, this was a brilliant case of a red herring right here, because you really do think that Dom is trying to help Rhea win the title back. Dom is then, so he takes a bump off the apron when Liv accidentally bumps into him. Liv hits Oblivion on Rhea, and that near fall was so damn close. I thought that was the finish right there. And Liv looked like she was about to burst into tears when Rhea kicked out. And then what happens next? Dominic slides the chair back in. He has the referee, preoccupied. And then I kind of see him out of the corner of my eye go, "Hey, Liv, hit the Oblivion one more time." Like he's pointing at the chair. And sure enough, one more Oblivion. Rhea Ripley goes head first into the chair. Ripley takes her first pinfall loss in 2 years, I think. Which is nuts.
Definitely way before she won the title.
Yeah.
Because Rhea Ripley has just, not only you say she's the best women's wrestler, she's the biggest women's star since, God, I don't know, Trish Stratus, maybe Becky Lynch.
No, I would say her and Becky are on equal playing ground right here, because yes, Rhea Ripley does have the mainstream appeal because everybody sees the TikToks of Rhea Ripley and they're like, "Who is this woman? Like, I need to know who this is."
Especially coworkers have come up to me knowing that I like wrestling and go, "Hey, who's that one wrestler?" I go, "Which one?" Like, "The goth one." And I may go, "Oh, Rhea Ripley?" Yeah. Everybody knows who Rhea Ripley is. She's the definition of the women want to be her and the women want to be with her. So the fact that Rhea Ripley is mainstream popular, I remember when she was in NXT UK, and the fact that she's blown up to the point that she is a recognizable figure on, in the casual eye. That's the goal.
Yes.
That is truly the goal right there. But like you said, Morgan retains the title. At this point, I was kind of expecting her to win the title. This execution is what I was not expecting, because Morgan gets out of the ring. Dom seems like distraught that Ripley didn't win the title, but he just
he was smiling after the 3 count happened. He was like,
maybe I didn't notice that.
He was so proud of himself, and I was like,
he goes up to Morgan and just starts full on making out with her. The whole crowd starts booing the fuck out of Dom and Liv, and I'm just like, I was distraught. I'm like, dirty Dom, you dirty, slimy son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's when you think this guy couldn't get more heat than he already does. Sorry, we don't hate Dom anymore because he beat up his dad. We hate Dom because he did mommy wrong. He did mommy wrong.
And this pretty much effectively and solidly turned mommy into a babyface here, because everybody was wanting to cheer for mommy anyway. So this is how you do it. In a Christian Trish Stratus style WrestleMania 20 makeout session right here. A lot of people were comparing this to Armageddon 99, but Liv Morgan looked just as surprised as everybody else was.
I am going to give the match 3.5 stars. It was very solid. Again, once they got out of the gate, this match got really good. And I appreciate Triple H still swerving us while still giving us the outcome that this match needed.
I'm going 4. I thought this match was fantastic. Again, a bit of a slow start at the beginning, but it played into the story of Liv Morgan not wanting to get physical with Rhea Ripley here. And of course, the aftermath, which I'm sure a lot of people predicted was going to go down like this. Can we also talk about the commentary team on this night? Michael Cole screams at the top of his lungs when the kiss happens, "Dom, you two-timing son of a bitch!" I'm like,
and Pat McAfee straight up calls Dom a piece of shit.
Yeah, he tried to censor himself. But then Michael Cole was just like, say it. He's given up at this point. Piece of shit.
This is just a glimmer of what we can expect when Monday Night Raw goes to Netflix in January.
Yep. Oh, I can't wait.
To bring that up real quick, it's going to be great. But CM Punk made a very good point in an interview during SummerSlam week. Yes, we are going to Netflix. Yes, it's going to be uncensored. But that does not mean everybody should be dropping F-bombs every promo and flipping the bird, because if they do, it's going to lose its meaning.
Yep.
So that is my expectation going in, because everyone, you don't know how many people have messaged me going, "Oh, did you see this? Raw's going to be uncensored in January. The Attitude Era is back." No, it's not. The Attitude, guys, I got some bad news for all of you. The Attitude Era is never coming back.
Nope, never coming back. And, like, do we really want the Attitude Era to come back? Because at least of the pay-per-views we've reviewed from the Attitude Era, were all the pay-per-views really that great? Like, yeah, because I cannot think of one bad pay-per-view under the Triple H regime. Not one. And he's been in power for 2 years now.
And speaking of that, we go backstage to the Judgment Day Clubhouse. Finn Balor, JD McDonough, they're distraught. They can't find Dom. Damian Priest, the World Heavyweight Champion, comes into play, and Priest drops the hardest line of the night. He goes, "Where is he? Where is that little prick?" I'm like, oh, see? That had meaning behind it. You don't just want to drop bad words for no reason. You see promos nowadays where people are like, "I'm going to beat the shit out of you." It's like, oh my God, he said shit. But there was malice behind Priest's voice when he said, "Where is that little prick?" Like, you gotta say it like that, guys. I don't know what it is about you guys wanting them to drop F-bombs every pay-per-view, but you gotta save it for the big moments.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be Dominic Mysterio after hearing Damian Priest say that, because Damian Priest would kill me.
Probably jumped into a limo and they got the fuck out of Cleveland the minute that match was over.
Got the fuck out of there and probably went to go hang out with Dominic's real life wife as well, right? Probably. But with that said, yeah, good planting the seeds for the World Heavyweight title match later, which we will talk about. And Carlito was there also. Carlito was reacting in very humorous manners, like he doesn't want to be involved in the Judgment Day anymore. Like,
I will say, I'm not that big a fan of Carlito, as we all know, but I just love how he just hangs in the background and he'll make a little comment here and there that is funny. And then his face during this segment with a mouthful of apple. Honestly, that look just screamed,
yep.
What the fuck did I get myself into?
Right?
I just wanted some protection from the LWO, and now I'm stuck in this.
Yep. Now I'm stuck in the middle of all this drama. That's not cool.
There's no turning back. There's no turning back, buddy.
Nope. No turning back whatsoever. Yep. He doesn't even have a mustache. He's just got the little weird 2007 goatee that he has going on. But yeah, up next we have a rematch from Money in the Bank. He's not mid. For the Intercontinental Championship. Believe it or not, in Sami Zayn's SummerSlam debut. How insane is that? Like,
that's wild.
Fuck you, Vince McMahon, for having to take this long.
This is what happens when you're booked by Vince McMahon for like 7 years.
Yeah, so Sami Zayn making his SummerSlam debut, defending the IC title that he won from Gunther at WrestleMania against the man he beat clean at Money in the Bank, Bronson Steiner. This was, yeah, I'm not going to say the stupid name right now, because
Bron Breakker, the dog.
The Steiner brothers were in attendance. Like, how can you say that he is Rick Steiner's son when his last name is not Steiner in kayfabe?
Oh, I don't know. How do you say that Lexus King is Brian Pillman's son without saying Pillman?
Right?
Motherfucker.
At least Lexus King is a good name.
How do you say Curtis Axel is Mr. Perfect's son if you don't say Hennig? Yeah.
At least Curtis Axel is also a good name. Bron Breakker is fucking dumb. But anyway.
Bron Breakker is a good name.
No.
It fits his gimmick. He breaks things.
It's 2 on the nose for me. 2 on the nose.
After Money in the Bank, Bron Breakker is... I like this style of booking where you know where it's going to end, but you don't know how it's going to... It's more about the journey, less about the destination, per se. Bron Breakker comes out to confront Sami Zayn and says, you know what? You got the better of me. I'm a dumb rookie. I made a mistake. You're the veteran. So I want to shake your hand. And he extends his hand to shake it. And before Zayn can even think about it, he spears the fuck out of Zayn. They get into a huge brawl. This issue's not over. But Breakker still needs to win his way into this match. He defeats Ilya Dragunov in a #1 contenders match, basically beating Dragunov to the point where Dragunov cannot continue. The booking of Breakker is damn near perfect.
It is. It is. And you could see the writing on the wall for this thing as well. After Bron Breakker lost at Money in the Bank, a common Triple H formula that we're starting to notice a little bit. Somebody challenges for a title at one pay-per-view, they're unsuccessful, and then they win it at the next pay-per-view. Yeah, case in point, Cody losing at Mania 39 and then him winning the next year. So, there you go. That's the biggest example I can think of. This match, very simple. Only went about 6 minutes, I would say. Bron Breakker was on offense for like 95% of it. It did start out very fast. Bron went for a spear very early on. His shoulder hit the ring post. Second match in a row where the heel is selling the shoulder, the challenger rather. Sami Zayn goes for one hell of a kick on Bron Breakker. He does not hit one hell of a kick in this match. Bron Breakker basically beats his ass everywhere. Goes for a couple of spears. Hits a second big one where he runs the ropes at like 4.2140, I would say. Spears the hell out of Sami right out of his shoes, and Bron Breakker convincingly pins him and wins the belt. This was as simple as it gets. It was right to the point.
The story they basically were telling was Bron Breakker knew the mistakes he made at Money in the Bank, and he made damn sure this time to not make the same mistakes. Mm-hmm. Sami Zayn played excellently on defense as, the veteran champion. And basically, it's basically the opposite of Money in the Bank, where the young stud got one over on the veteran. Not saying Sami Zayn's old per se, but Bron Breakker is just too fast, too strong, too unstoppable for Zayn's good at this point. Like, he survived the monster the first time. Sorry, buddy, lightning doesn't strike twice. Like, you may get a fast one over on Michael Myers the first time, but once he circles around back to you, you're dead.
Yeah, and think about this. Sami Zayn was the one who ended Gunther's 666-day reign as Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania. And then the next Intercontinental Champion after Sami Zayn beat Sami Zayn within 5 minutes. Yeah. That is damn impressive. That's how you put over Bronson Steiner as the next big thing in WWE. But he celebrates with his new belt, and you see his dad and his uncle in the skybox celebrating alongside DDP. This guy's going to be a huge deal. Give it another couple years or so, and we could be seeing him contend for a world title sooner rather than later. Sky's the limit for him.
This guy by next year is going to be a main event player.
You think?
Like I said before, now we have a dominant heel champion, and he has a plethora of opponents to work with on Raw. Mm-hmm. There could be a rematch with Sami Zayn. Ilya Dragunov is the first person that comes to mind. Sheamus comes to mind. Pete Dunne comes to mind. I know he just freshly turned heel, but there's a good solid chunk of mid-carders on Raw.
Braun Strowman
for a really good match. Yeah. There could be hoss fights. There's going to be hard-hitting affairs. It's going to be a fun title reign for Bron Breakker. I know it's too soon to say, but I want Ilya Dragunov to be the one to take the title off of him.
Yeah. I mean, it's too soon to say, but I'm hoping that Sheamus is the guy to do it, because he's been chasing that IC title for so long, and they can tell that story still with him. Sheamus has never beaten Gunther, couldn't take the IC title from him ever, so maybe now this is his shot. Maybe.
Now, honestly, again, too soon to say, but I think a healthy reign for Breakker would be to drop it at Mania.
Yeah, for sure. No sooner than WrestleMania, I would say. I'm going to go 2 3/4 on this one. It was fairly simple, to the point. Nothing wrong with the wrestling, but like, you blinked and you miss it compared to everything else on this show.
I'm going to give it 2.5 for the same reason. But again, the match very much served its purpose, and I thought it was a big SummerSlam moment for Bron Breakker.
Yes.
They're always going to go back to this now. This is where Bron Breakker won his first title. And you can't help but just think, after you see big things like this, where was Bron Breakker a couple years ago? Freshly green on NXT, still doing big things, but not really anybody knowing who he is. And you see the progression.
And nobody caring.
Yeah. What he's done in the past couple of years. This is how you make a star.
Yep.
This right here is how you make a star.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of mid-card titles, up next for the WWE United States Championship, we have Logan Paul defending against LA Knight.
Yeah!
I feel the opposite about this. I really didn't care about this build. This build went on for way too long. I feel like these guys have been feuding since around WrestleMania. And it's been, kind of like an LA Knight staple of booking. It's entertaining per se. Don't get me wrong. It is very entertaining. It has a very much Stone Cold Steve Austin build feel to it. Look back to his build with AJ Styles. Going to AJ Styles' house and brawling with him in his front yard. They got into a fight in WWE World. This has kind of been the same thing. Logan Paul just taunting LA Knight this entire time. LA Knight showing up at Logan Paul's house and just chilling.
Taking a dip in his pool. Yeah. That was funny.
But other than that, it's just been a lot of Logan Paul shows up. LA Knight tries to get his hands on him. Logan Paul runs away. Not a lot of just waiting. When's this finally going to pay off? So I was looking forward to this match, but I was mostly looking forward to this feud being over because this feud really didn't do anything for me.
Well, and I was also looking forward to seeing somebody finally take this fucking belt from Logan Paul, because he was billed longest reigning champion in WWE at the time. Spoiler alert. He had only had 2 title defenses in 275 days or something like that. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
I think it was 3. I could have swore it was 3.
It was only the Rumble and WrestleMania. That's it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Before there was a 3rd one in there.
But, I mean, you get the point, though. Two defenses, 3 defenses, still. For 275 days, that is ridiculous.
When Logan Paul first won this title, this was my biggest fear, because he won it at a time where the world champion, Roman Reigns, was not showing up to SmackDown as well. When you have a 2-hour show with the world champion who's not showing up, and now your mid-card champion isn't showing up, what is there for these guys to fight for? I'm surprised. I had anxiety watching SmackDown sometimes, going, what do you book when both of your singles champions are not on the show? Yep. I know I've given a lot of credit for his in-ring work, and I've enjoyed the very few times he's wrestled since being the United States champion, but that was a very, that was a bold decision to put this title on Logan at a time where Roman Reigns was still in the middle of his historic reign.
Yeah, and having him beat Rey Mysterio of all people, which I don't really think is believable at all. I'm sorry. I know we've talked a lot of praise about how I hate how good Logan Paul is at this wrestling thing. I hate it because I have to be objective as a critic, and I have to point out when he has a good match. Yeah, like tonight with LA Knight, it's a good match. But he has said so many things on Twitter recently, especially regarding some Olympic athletes, that have gotten him in so much trouble with everybody. And for good reason. Fuck this guy. If it were my company, Tomas, I would have fired him for those comments. I absolutely would have.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this, and you have to be realistic and honest.
Yeah.
So what if this same person is giving your company millions of dollars in sponsorship? If you say yes, you would still fire him? I'm sorry, that's a bad business decision.
I know. Yeah, it pains me to say that, but on moral grounds, I don't care about the business thing. On moral grounds, this guy would have been fucking fired.
Now, if Logan Paul did something on the level of Vince McMahon, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I don't agree. But at the same time, there's nothing illegal. There's nothing what Logan said that was illegal.
I know.
They basically just PR got on his ass about it and said, hey, you really got to watch what you're saying on social media. You got to understand. But here's the thing about Logan Paul and WWE. Before Logan Paul was a wrestler, he was just his own douchebag on his own douchebag platform.
Yep.
Nobody liked him, but there was no repercussions. Logan Paul needs to understand now that he is employed by a billion-dollar company in Endeavor, and he really has to watch what he says, because if he does it too many times, he's going to say the absolute wrong thing. I'll give you this. If he would have pulled that shit he did in Japan while under WWE's umbrella, he'd be gone.
Yeah.
I'm talking something on that serious level right there. And here's the one statement that describes me and Logan Paul. I wish I could like him. I really do. I wish, because he has everything you want in a pro wrestler. And every time I watch him wrestle, I forget he's an online celebrity. He looks like he's been doing this shit his entire life.
Yeah. It looks like he's been a lifelong fan, which he is. He knows what the business does, and he knows what it takes to get into the business. So, yeah, again, I hate to say how good he is at this wrestling thing. He was accompanied to the ring by Machine Gun Kelly, by the way, which I'm sure a lot of people forgot about. Machine Gun Kelly, unfortunately, was not powerbombed off a stage by Kevin Owens this time. I hate to burst everybody's bubble. But, yeah, LA Knight comes out, and he's still as popular as he ever has been. These guys get into, a solid 10-minute brawl before the bell even rings. They're fighting by the announce table. LA Knight is spitting prime at Logan Paul himself, which is great tarnishing on his branding. The only thing missing was LA Knight saying, you know what? Prime sucks. Yeah, that tastes bad. Yeah. That was the only thing missing.
Well, LA Knight with a spinning torture rack neck breaker on the announce table before the match even starts.
Yeah.
Again, I want someone to tell me out there that LA Knight is not solid in the ring. Come on. Come the fuck on.
Yeah.
People are just looking for excuses to not like LA Knight.
Anybody listening to this podcast and trying to say that LA Knight is just Diet Rock or Diet Stone Cold and say that he's not good in the ring. Watch this match and try and tell me that. I dare you. Yeah, go ahead.
I will give LA Knight this. Ever since his popularity skyrocketed and he felt like he had something to prove, his in-ring work has improved by 1,000%. Because I'll give you this. If he had the same work ethic as he did in like TNA, I'd probably be on the boat of all those people. But he has stepped it up when he realized this is my shot.
Yeah.
And so I need to prove all the haters wrong.
So the bell finally rings, right? And these two guys get in there, and it's a very athletic contest, which can be a little bit... You wouldn't expect... you would expect it out of Logan Paul. But yeah, LA Knight is a good athlete, man. Logan Paul does a flip plancha to the outside, almost like knees LA Knight in the fucking head. And LA Knight also, back in the ring, he is on the second rope. He hops up backwards to the top rope to do the Macho Man elbow drop, the Macho Man Slim Jim elbow. Yeah, awesome.
Logan
awesome
Paul
athleticism.
Also does this same spot where he's standing on the apron. He jumps into a backflip position and then jumps off the middle rope and does like this insane moonsault.
Yeah.
Like, what? This guy should not be able to do this. But he's in there hanging with LA Knight. It is absolutely insane.
Yeah, slender, skinny, you know, he can jump off the top rope like that. It should also be noted that Logan Paul is wearing the colors of the Cleveland Browns, which you know, he claims he hails from Cleveland, Ohio, and he was born there and he grew up there. But also, the second thing, probably a curse to wear the Cleveland Browns colors in their stadium just because of how historically bad the Browns have been for so long. Like, that's just a curse in and of its own right. Wear their colors in their stadium.
I don't know if this attains to how good of a heel Logan is, but have you ever seen the hometown hero just objectively booed the way he is?
Oh yeah. Kurt Angle's been booed in Pittsburgh.
But it was just so like daunting to see, like, I guess being the hometown hero doesn't always get you the hometown pop.
No, because he doesn't live in Cleveland anymore. He lives wherever the fuck he lives in, middle of bumfuck, like, you know, I don't know wherever he's built from. But anyway, he's gonna look it up. So these guys, I mean, there's some nice false finishes in there. Logan Paul, he hits one lucky punch. LA Knight kicks out of it. That's like kicking out of Big Show's knockout punch. And I will say that, I feel like, you know, if you're really going to build up the knockout punch for Logan, like, don't have people kick out of it too much. That's just my only thing. If you're really going to have him
lucky punch,
if you have him going to be built up as a legitimate threat with that one lucky punch, then don't have people kick out of it so much. That's my thing. So LA Knight kicks out of it. Logan Paul starts to get desperate. He goes out to ringside where you see Machine Gun Kelly. He's wearing this big gigantic ass chain, and it's got brass knuckles on it. Like, he had a pendant. Machine Gun Kelly was walking out with Logan Paul with brass knuckles around his neck. So,
real quick, he's not billed from anywhere. He is billed from Ohio. He is from Ohio. He's not from Cleveland per se, but he is from Ohio. He's from Westlake.
Oh yeah, well, he said he was from Cleveland, so that's false advertising there.
That's like the same with me. If I was a pro wrestler, they're never going to do a show in Woodland, California. They're going to have to. I'm going to have to stay from Sacramento.
Yeah.
Well, they're not. We don't have a fucking arena.
Right.
There's Golden One Center in Sac.
Right. Yeah. So, Logan has the brass knuckles on his hand that Machine Gun Kelly gave him. There was a reversal out of the butt force trauma earlier. Logan Paul is about to be back suplexed into the ring, but he hits LA Knight with the brass knuckles. LA Knight is down on the ground, and I'm like, I'm going to have a heart attack here if Logan retains here.
Also, by the way, I have to say this now, and this is perfect setup for the finish of the match. I was watching this match while sitting in a Panera Bread.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's a good place to watch it. Logan then goes for his buckshot lariat, paying homage to his homie Hangman Adam Page. I don't even know if they're homies or not, but
or maybe
anyway,
maybe he's paying tribute to CM Punk. You don't know.
Well, CM Punk is not going to try and hit a buckshot lariat anymore in his career. So
you think that triggered CM Punk seeing the buckshot?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm sure he wants to punch Logan Paul in the face. So yeah,
what if
I
you
do
went
too.
up to CM Punk and you had two people with you and you said, "Hey, Mr. Punk, This is my friend Scott, and this is my friend Colton.
Oh, no, he would have such serious PTSD. He would ask you, what's your name? What's your name, Scott or Colt?
We're going to go hit up the Cabana. It's a really cool restaurant that we found down the road. Do you want to come? I heard there's going to be a stand-up comedy show there.
We're going to hit up Mindy's Bakery. It's a really good place in Chicago if you want a place for...
After the stand-up comedy show, we're going to hit up Mindy's.
Yeah, no, for sure. I need to go to Chicago at some point soon. So...
Oh, shoot. My mom just texted me. She forgot the password to our bank account. I got to go change that.
OMG, Kevin Nash, WTF, thought he was dead, LOL.
Anywho, back to the match.
Yeah, he goes for the buckshot, right? CM Punk, I'm sure, is puking backstage. Yeah, so LA Knight catches Logan Paul 10 seconds after he was hit in the face with brass knuckles. He hits the butt force trauma for the 1, 2, 3. Thank God LA Knight is the champion. His first...
I do not care that I was in a public restaurant. I marked the fuck out for this. The person I was with said, we're in the middle of a Panera. And I said, I don't care. This is the one match I wanted to be excited for. This was the one match I told myself, I don't care. I'm marking out for it. Because people are too goddamn judgmental in this world. And then after that, I was like, okay, I got it out of my system. But I was so happy to see LA Knight win his first championship in the WWE. It only took them a goddamn year and a half after his popularity surged in the WWE. And I have to thank all the fans right now. Thank you for not letting LA Knight fizzle into obscurity, because that's what I was scared of. That they weren't capitalizing on LA Knight, that he was never going to get his time in the sun, but he finally did, and he got it in such a spectacular fashion. I'm not going to point out people, but I have been listening. I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts, and so many people were saying, well, I don't know if they're going to do it here. That's too many title changes. Well, why they should save LA Knight's title win for a big show. And I'm like, if they're not going to do it,
it is a big show.
Not making up excuses to put the title. Logan Paul already lost at King of the Ring. I'm like, I don't care anymore. I want to see LA Knight. Everybody last year was saying LA Knight needs to win the Intercontinental or the United States title at SummerSlam. Here we are. We finally got it. The United States title needs to be back on SmackDown on a regular basis. And there are a plethora of opponents now that LA Knight can defend against. And finally, LA Knight is in the position he needs to be in. I thought, honestly, the world title was too high of a ceiling for him. And the way he was getting booked prior to Vince McMahon leaving was absolutely criminal. So here we are. We're at the perfect spot for him right now.
Couldn't have happened to a better guy. Couldn't have happened to a more humble guy in the business. Remember when we worked so hard over Mania 39 weekend to get LA Knight over? Like, remember how, like, it's crazy to see it now. It's crazy to see it pay off.
LA Knight not being featured at all WrestleMania weekend in 2023 to him winning the United States Championship on SummerSlam in a big profile match.
Yeah.
You'll love to see it. I'm going to give the match 3 3/4 stars. It was very athletic, very fun, very energetic from start to finish. I don't think there was like a boring part of this match. It was very interesting from start to finish.
The match was certainly
12 minutes.
The match was certainly entertaining enough. I'm going to go with 3.5 just because I feel like maybe if I'm nitpicking a little bit, the pre-match brawling bit went on a little bit too long for my liking. But yeah, no, I thought it was good enough. I thought it was good. And it definitely had the right outcome. And like you said, huge locker room of opponents for LA Knight to defend this title against. Santos Escobar comes to mind. Carmelo Hayes comes to mind. Andrade comes to mind.
They could circle back to AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Nakamura.
Give AJ something to do and give Shinsuke something to do. Absolutely. I'm down. I'm down for both of those. So,
unfortunately, now that Gargano and Ciampa's title reign was very short, hey, Gargano and Ciampa, they are always credible contenders for a title.
Gargano did say that he wanted to be the U.S. champion at some point during this run, so we'll see.
So that could be a very, very fun match. A lot of possibilities for LA Knight going forward. When he drops this United States title, then we could talk about possibly a WWE title. But as I'm going to talk about later, the WWE title has been elevated to a crazy new level. So they're going to have to be very meticulous on how they decide who the next champion is going to be. Anywho, I thought the next match was good. I know you're going to disagree, but I enjoyed the next match.
It was all right. It was all right. For the WWE Women's Championship on the SmackDown side, Bayley is defending against the godforsaken Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax, who I have had my fair share to say about it. I'm very indifferent about her at this point, and yes, I can acknowledge that she has improved, and she hasn't hurt anybody since she's come back. So good on her for that.
I'm at least happy that when I see Nia Jax is going to have a match, I don't immediately go to the bathroom and throw up for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I am content knowing I can at least stomach a Nia Jax match and enjoy it. So
yeah, this match was good. This match was good.
The weird thing about this build, that it was less about Nia Jax and Bayley and more about this friendship that's been developing between Nia Jax and Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton has basically been trying to befriend. The fact that Tiffy Time was not booked on a match in the show makes me very sad. But her presence was very much felt. Ever since Tiffany Stratton won the Money in the Bank, she's been teasing it. She's been staying very close to Nia Jax, a classic case of keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Yep. And basically, she's won Nia Jax's trust almost all the way to the point that Bayley destroyed Tiffany Stratton's Money in the Bank briefcase.
She sure did.
On the Go Home SmackDown, Nia Jax presented Tiffany Stratton with a brand new hot pink briefcase that WWE could not wait to put on the market, and they're going to sell a buttload of those. There's going to be a bunch of little girls walking around with pink Money in the Bank briefcases.
And carrying them around like they're purses, like they're Barbie-style purses, and that's what Tiffany does. And by the way...
Money in the Bank briefcase, it's usually a lunch.
No, like that's too big for a lunchbox. Tiffany is carrying around this hot pink briefcase now, and since it was given to her the night before SummerSlam, I know a lot of people were predicting a Tiffany Stratton cash in. Let it simmer a little bit, all right?
Yeah.
Especially since she just got this brand new briefcase. Do you really think that WWE would introduce this thing the night before SummerSlam and then not sell a bunch of them and have her cash in 24 hours later after it's introduced? No. Just like Damian Priest. It's just like Damian Priest last year with his purple briefcase. They probably sold a good amount of those, didn't they? So.
Absolutely. And my thing is, the fans, they're still just, I don't want to use the word brainwashed. We are still just accustomed to vintage style of booking where everything has got to happen right now. And I think we've learned so many times in the past that if you get your instant gratification, that's all it is. It's instant gratification. Sure, Tiffany Stratton could have cashed in tonight. She could have won the title. And then she drops the title 4 months later.
Yep.
Then what? Perfect example I can think of is Nikki Cross. We were so happy for Nikki Cross when she finally won the women's title. What happened? She lost it a month later. Bam, back to Jobberville.
Yep.
We don't get happy with Tiffany Stratton, do we?
Nope, because she's the future. She's the future, and you better use her right.
So going into this match, that's basically the basis going into this match. I like this match for a couple of reasons. Number one, I thought, again, the big woman, little woman dynamic worked very well. Bayley is such a fucking veteran at this point that she knows how to command the pace of a match, and I thought her and Nia Jax did it very well. A very strange spot in the match where Nia Jax was on offense, and then she just smacks the shit out of Bayley's ass. I don't know what that was all about.
Wow.
And then she just like presses her ass on Bayley on the apron of the ring, and I'm like, you two are having a little too much fun with this match.
She tried to do a stink face. She's not Rikishi, though.
Bayley goes for kind of like, what was it, like a triangle choke, like a standing triangle choke. And Michael Cole does my favorite thing in this match. He references that's how Bayley beat Nia Jax at NXT London in 2015.
I remember that.
Love with callbacks. I love consistency.
Again, instead of instant gratification, Triple H will reward you for being a long-term fan. So there you go. Gotta love when a company treats its fans with respect, right? So in that case, probably the spot of the entire match was when Nia Jax was on the second rope doing the corner punches for whatever reason. Bayley lifts Nia Jax up and powerbombs Nia Jax. Like, not before walking her halfway across the ring, too. Bayley's superhuman. She really is. Bayley, and I never knew that about her. Learning more new things about Bayley.
2 things about Bayley. She eats her Wheaties and she does her squats. Because this girl can bench. If you've ever seen videos of Bayley benching in the gym, She eats her Wheaties.
Oh,
for sure.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? She does also kick out of a bonsai drop from Nia Jax as well. And here's another thing. I know what I said. It's the same move though. I love that.
It's the Annihilator, because not only does she annihilate her opponents, listen to the word. Annihilate.
Why didn't I think of that? It's a pun.
She didn't splatter Bayley's guts all over the ring like she did Lyra Valkyria, Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, thankfully. So Bayley does kick out of one bonsai drop. I got to give credit to Nia Jax also for doing the Yokozuna arms cross whenever she's pinning her opponents. So that part, good on you, Nia Jax, for the family tribute to another lost member of the Bloodline who was taken from us way too soon.
Remember WrestleMania weekend when I accidentally made eye contact with Nia Jax for like 0.5 seconds?
Let me guess. You want to meet her now?
No. No, I'm just saying. Every time I see how far Nia Jax has come, I just think to that one moment where I can tell people, yeah, I was in WrestleCon and I made awkward eye contact with her for like a split second. And I was like, no, I don't want to see you.
Yeah. It'd be like that sometimes. So, Tiffany Stratton's music actually does hit, and Tiffy Time runs down to the ring with another referee. Why does she need a second referee? There's already one in the ring. She runs down with her briefcase that she's definitely not cashing in. Definitely not cashing in successfully since she just got this new briefcase the night before. She teases one, and even though she promised Nia that she wasn't going to, she runs down there anyway and tries to. And Bayley pushes her by the wayside. And that distraction basically is enough for Nia Jax to hit not one, but two more annihilators on Bayley. Covers, pinfall, new women's champion. Third straight match where you have a title change on this card. Again, I'm kind of indifferent at this point towards Nia Jax. But if you want to progress this story of this friendship between Nia and Tiffany, and then have Tiffany turn babyface by cashing in on Nia that way, because this crowd wants to cheer Tiffy Time. Like, if you want to turn her babyface, that's how you do it. Have her cash in on Nia, who's a despised heel. So
I was thinking about this finish a lot. And people brought up a good point. Like, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax told Tiffany Stratton, here's a new briefcase. Don't even think about trying to cash it in on Saturday. And how can Nia Jax continue to trust Tiffany Stratton after tonight? It's easy. On SmackDown, I guarantee you, if it gets brought up, Tiffany Stratton's going to say, oh, I did that on purpose. I wanted to distract Bayley so you could win the title. Like, Tiffany Stratton may be, the hot beach blonde, the Barbie girl beach blonde, but she's not as dumb as she looks. Don't need to bury that, but
she's not Elle Woods type smart, is what you're saying. So Nia takes the title and she leaves with her new bestie. Here's the thing about this title reign for Bayley, because again, this is a WrestleMania to SummerSlam timeline for this title reign here. I don't want to say it was a bad reign. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, though. I was actually kind of disappointed by it in some ways, especially after the build to get Bayley to this point. It just seems like it was there for me.
It started off great, I will say. We had a great triple threat at Backlash. I think once they started leaving Bayley off the pay-per-views, that's when it got a little, per se, weak for me. Because it's not even like she had some strong title defenses on television. Because I think that should be the thing. If they're going to alternate which these titles are going to be defended on which pay-per-view, they got to have a big-time match on TV. It's like what I used to say in the past when, the brand split pay-per-views where, SmackDown would go 8 weeks without having a pay-per-view. What did they do in that time? They booked big matches on television. For example, at Bash in Berlin, the women's world title is defended, but the WWE women's title is not. You know what you do? You build to a big match on television. Triple H seems to be big back on that, booking style where you book big matches on television. And this is a good opportunity to do that. And I don't think they did that with Bayley. They did it with Liv Morgan. They had the women's title match with Zelina Vega going into Money in the Bank. But other than that, I think that's what kind of hurt Bayley in the long run.
And you also don't really have that reign-defining story for Bayley. Because it seems like, she was a presence on the roster and she was defending the belt and all that. She was a fighting champion. but you didn't really have that captivating television story for Bayley. You know what I mean? Like,
because out of all of the world title wins at WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, we've seen Bayley as champion before. Even though the story was great and this is a new version of Bayley, we've seen Bayley with the championship, but we know what she can do with the championship. With Cody and Priest, it was fresher. With Bayley, it was like, that was an awesome moment. I'm glad she got it, but it's not like she hasn't had this moment before.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm going to give this match 3.25 stars, I would say.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
I thought the powerbomb was the best spot in the match by far. So I'm hoping Bayley can stay atop the card in some form or fashion, because it looks like we're heading towards a long build towards a Tiffany Stratton women's title victory. Inevitably, I'm thinking leading to Tiffany versus Charlotte at some point, once Charlotte does come back.
This is going to make you laugh. It makes me happy to know that I can watch a Nia Jax match or know a Nia Jax match is coming, and then I don't immediately eat a pile of spicy chili nachos and go to the bathroom and shit my brains out for 30 minutes just so I don't have to
watch it. Ew. Ew.
Yeah.
I didn't need that visual,
Greg would appreciate that. I think Greg would appreciate that.
No, he wouldn't. In
the great words of Greg, can we have a moment of silence for Rhea Ripley?
Yeah. Can we have a moment of 3 matches after the fact? Like, we should have done it right there, the opener.
Now you just Greg always say, can we have a moment of silence for what's her name? The backstage girl.
Kathy Kelly.
Kathy Kelly. Can we have a moment of silence for Kathy Kelly?
No, she wasn't even on this show. But anyway,
we have a moment of silence for Tiffany Stratton.
As usual, this podcast has gone off the rails, so let's talk about probably the most hyped match of the entire year. Let's get right into it.
That his niece retained the title.
Who?
His niece retained the title in the opener.
No, Liv Morgan. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you did there.
That's his niece.
I see what you did there.
He's gone on account to say several times that's his niece.
No, it's not. I don't buy that for a second. I really don't.
Hey, they both have the same last name.
Well, that doesn't automatically make him her uncle.
You calling Greg a liar?
Oh, well, speaking of, oh boy, do you want to just get into the next match here?
We have been waiting for this.
Yes.
For a very long time.
I have been waiting.
Returns and injuries and promos and winning the title and losing the title and getting screwed out of the title and losing a title match in your home country to winning a briefcase to trying to cash in the briefcase to getting screwed out of the title again to friendship bracelets and blood and jumping in between shows. And social media trolling. Even Jungle Boy was involved in this. Yeah. General managers and security guards and referees in between all of this and all of this drama. We finally come to this match. CM Punk, the best in the world, in his first ever one-on-one WWE televised match since 2014, going against the sinister Scotsman Drew McIntyre with Seth freaking Rollins as your special guest referee. Seth Rollins as your special guest referee. How did we get here? Right, yeah. Oh boy, I feel like covering this whole Punk McIntyre feud would give us a whole hour of things to talk about. But essentially, just going from Money in the Bank since Punk last screwed Drew McIntyre out of the World Heavyweight Championship for the third time.
Yeah, so Seth Rollins interrupts a CM Punk promo on Raw, and he basically cuts right to the chase. Why did you stick your nose in my business? Because while Punk was busy screwing McIntyre, he had tunnel vision. And he didn't realize that he was fucking over Seth Rollins as well. And Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight Championship are almost synonymous with one another, especially over the past couple of years. So Seth wanted that belt back, and because of Punk, he does not have it. So what happens next is that Punk and McIntyre hate each other so much that no referee wants to get in between them. So Seth Rollins, go ahead.
McIntyre has been hitting officials ever since Money in the Bank, got himself suspended. This is probably the only part of the storyline that was like, this wasn't a little necessary. As we talked about, McIntyre put his hands on Adam Pearce at the Money in the Bank post show, which got him suspended. Adam Pearce trying to get Drew McIntyre to apologize to the referees. McIntyre basically said something along the lines of, fuck that, and refused to do it. So basically, Pierce said, okay, fine. The match is on. Punk is cleared. McIntyre's unsuspended, but under 2 conditions. Number 1, your special guest referee is Seth Rollins. Number 2, if either of you lay your hands on each other before SummerSlam, the match is off.
Yep, which is a classic trope when you have a blood feud like this. And Seth Rollins, in storyline, volunteered to be the special guest referee because he hates both guys, and he basically tells Adam Pearce, hey, nobody hates both these guys as equally as I do, so I will call it right down the middle. If you have a referee problem, I'm a visionary and I can see the 3 count. I can see the shoulders are down. Unlike the referee who didn't see Damian Priest's shoulders not come off the mat, I will count. I will absolutely count. No, he doesn't say that. But
Rollins has one rule. You can do whatever the hell you want. Just listen to me. So the power is in Rollins' hands. So Rollins comes out, of course, in the most bedazzled.
I
mean that as a compliment.
Listen, I've heard some certain people say that they didn't like the idea of Seth as a referee because it really mitigated the intensity of the Punk McIntyre feud. It makes sense for Seth to be in the middle of them too, though. Like, I don't get some people sometimes. Yeah,
I'm very much on the fence about that. I understand both sides. In my perfect world, honestly, Rollins isn't the referee.
Right.
Because I wanted to see these two tear each other apart, but I understand why this element was introduced, and I don't think Rollins got too involved to the point, because, you have to take a lot of things into account. CM Punk got injured. We're not going to bust CM Punk's balls too much on this, but the original plan was Punk and Rollins at WrestleMania. They had to pivot to the McIntyre stuff. They want to keep all of this fresh and relevant because we know we're going to get a Punk and Rollins match down the line.
Yeah.
All the pieces are here for this. Drew McIntyre comes out. He stands in the ring and he says, "Bring that bitch out here." And he looks at Rollins and says, "All you got to do is count 3. Nothing else."
Well, by the way, Seth Rollins not only had a bedazzled referee shirt and the most glitter I've ever seen on a pair of Sabu pants in my life, but like, Jesus, like you needed like heavy sunglasses to look at those blinders. But his robe also was very Jack Skellington-esque. And I'm sure if my girlfriend were watching this, Seth Rollins would have been her favorite wrestler after seeing that attire. So
she would have said, "Yeah."
My husband, anyway.
So CM Punk music hits, and it had this WrestleMania vibe to it. Like you knew something like big was going to happen in this match. Punk makes his way out, and when he takes the hood off, I'm like, he looks so healthy.
Yeah, and happy.
Like, he looks like this. This man finally looks like he's found inner peace. I don't know what it is about WWE, but basically, back to quoting Greg. Greg said it best when CM Punk came back. He looks so good and so healthy here and so vibrant and full of color. In AEW, he looked like he had COVID.
Yeah, he was full of living color, that's for sure. And you guys see the shirt right here. Just bought this bad boy not too long ago.
Come full circle.
Yeah, over the past couple of years or so, I'm eating a huge bowl of crow right now. I am so sorry for everything I said about this man because he looks so healthy. He looks so happy. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say.
Shout out to CM Punk's ring attire. He was wearing pink and black. A direct callback to SummerSlam 97. Brandon Taker with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. I believe we have reviewed that show.
We have, yeah. That's the match. That's the match that Good Mike Work could not jack off to, right?
Yeah, so, basically. Yeah. So the match finally gets underway, and this was very good. Was it a 5-star classic? No, it did not need to be a 5-star classic. I will admit, Punk and McIntyre were playing it very safe because CM Punk has glass bones and paper skin, and the last thing we want to do is put this man on the shelf for another 9 months.
Yep.
But that didn't mean they held back in this match. It was very hard hitting. I thought these guys had excellent chemistry together. The match flowed very well. Seth Rollins' presence played the exact amount that it needed to. I love the spots in this match where they go and they brawl to the outside. and Punk is slamming McIntyre's. Oh no, McIntyre is slamming Punk's head against the steel steps, and Rollins is just turning around. He's talking to the crowd. He's tying his shoe. He's basically like,
oh yeah, Rollins was funny. Rollins was really funny. There was a point where Drew had Punk by the legs, and he was gonna do the thing where, you know, they do the slingshot and the guy's neck goes into the ropes. This time he was gonna do it on the outside, and Punk's neck was gonna go into the steel apron. And Rollins was out there. He was trying to get Drew to stop it, and he was like, "Nah." He goes into the ring, lets Drew have it, and he's just talking to the crowd, and he's just looking around, laughing, and he's proud of the fact that he is in the middle of this. So,
you know what else I appreciate about this match?
What's that?
No crowd brawling.
No, no. The feud is intense, but I'm not. Here's my thing. The match was awesome, but I know these guys can have a better match than this, and I feel like they're saving a little bit for something that Punk does not want to do, which is Hell in a Cell. That's where the feud is going, though. That's where this feud has to die.
What Punk meant by that was the first match isn't going to be Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
that's going to be the blow off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. So I don't know what other stipulation you would do.
This match wasn't really about the spots. These guys weren't doing 450s. These guys weren't doing triple corkscrew moonsaults. They weren't hitting 5 finishers at once just to kick out at one, do a nip up. These guys fought. These guys fought all over the place. CM Punk hits a Macho Man elbow drop. McIntyre hits a Glasgow kiss. McIntyre does not once in this match hit the Future Shock DDT, which I thought was very interesting considering the Future Shock is the move that injured CM Punk in the first place.
He teased it. He teased it. But I don't think Punk wants to take a Future Shock DDT again because he knows it would hurt him.
Also made finishers very sacred in this match, which was 100% the right call.
Yeah. Yeah. So another key thing about this story is that when Drew McIntyre bloodied CM Punk and just brutalized him in Punk's hometown of Chicago, Drew took that really pretty little friendship bracelet that has the name of Punk's wife and the name of Punk's dog written on it, and he's been carrying it around. He's sauntering backstage. You saw him at the beginning of the show with it. He kisses the bracelet too.
I wanted Larry to do a run-in.
Oh man, could you imagine if Larry did a run-in?
I think Larry is retired after what happened at All Out.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to take my pet on the road. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. So, Punk eventually locks Drew in the Anaconda Vice, and then he gets the bracelet back. It slips out of his hand, and then Punk has Drew on his shoulders for the go to sleep, and then he sees the bracelet is on Seth Rollins' wrist, and he's like...
Which all Rollins was doing was keeping it safe.
Yeah!
Rollins probably just thought in his mind, I don't like CM Punk, but this little bracelet means a lot to him. Let me do him a fucking favor for once and just keep it safe.
Well,
and Punk has a goddamn connection. Also, before I get into this, I loved how the Anaconda Vice was less about locking the hold on to McIntyre and more about, I just need to get a hold of this guy's fucking wrist so I can get my bracelet back.
Yep. Yeah, that was all it was. It was like CM Punk was Frodo in Lord of the Rings, just trying to catch the ring to control all. And then he sees the bracelet on Seth's wrist because, like you said, Seth is a good person. He's trying to he's doing the Brody Lee thing. He's like, the true character of a man is what he does for someone who does him no good, as Cody Rhodes says. So CM Punk sees the bracelet and he just flips out. He gets in Seth's face and he says, yeah, you and your Sabu pants, you can't be holding my bracelet like that. Like, I remember him saying Sabu pants. Like,
I really hope you guys didn't watch this match on mute because the interactions in the ring were gold because CM Punk says that and then he says, you're as good as a referee as you are a wrestler. Like, god damn, Punk did not hold back.
No, he didn't. Yeah, this guy is so unpredictable. You never know what he's going to say next. Clearly, you never know what he's going to say next, but WWE has him on a very respectful leash here, so he's not overstepping any personal boundaries here. So, Drew then, so Punk and Rollins have this face-off. Rollins is like, you got to listen to me. This isn't about you, asshole. It never is about you. And
focus on McIntyre. Focus on the guy that you've wanted to get your hands on months. And just because Rollins is in the ring, he wants to shift attention to him.
Yeah. So Punk does not take too kindly to that comment. Hits Seth Rollins with the GTS. The referee is down. He goes back over to the corner where McIntyre is waiting for him. And Punk gets a first-class ticket right into Dick Kick City. The referee did not see it. Drew hits
also, before you go into this finish, Punk has a great line as well when he does that. He hits the GTS. He looks down at Rollins and he says, "It's not always about me, but it's never about you." Like, God damn, Punk came in with a loaded chamber into this match.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so Drew kicks Punk right in the dick, and then he hits him right in the jaw with a Claymore, and then he goes to pin CM Punk, and he's like, "Seth, count it now!" And then Seth goes, 1, 2, shades of 1997. He looks at Drew, he doesn't want to do it. He reluctantly counts 3, and Drew wins, and he steals the bracelet back. What a savage.
What a shot it was after the match where McIntyre takes the bracelet back, puts it around his wrist, 1 foot on Punk, 1 arm in the air. I'm like, that is a photo worth 1,000 words.
And Drew actually posted that photo on Instagram, and he said, "Best in the world." So,
God damn. You should have said best in the world, Crimea River. But anyway, Michael Cole with the call of the night as well after this match, where he said, "I hate to say it, but CM Punk cost himself."
Yep, he sure did.
He let his petty little hatred for Seth Rollins get in the way of getting the biggest win of his career. And I made a
Is it the biggest win of his career, though?
Well,
is it really?
It's such like it's a big match. This is the biggest match since he's come back.
Sure.
But, I made a very bold prediction the day of this show, and I saw, you know what? Drew McIntyre is going over, because I think Drew McIntyre going over just adds more fuel to the feud, and it can continue going. If Punk would have won, I think they would have had to work something out where McIntyre would have to get back on the bad side of CM Punk to continue the feud. But when the heel wins, there's more fuel for the feud to continue, so the babyface can finally get that heat back.
Absolutely.
It felt better, considering how much of Punk. Let's look at the timeline again. Sure, Drew McIntyre injured CM Punk at the Royal Rumble, but at WrestleMania, CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre the World Heavyweight title. At Clash of the Castle, Punk cost him the title. Money in the Bank, not only did he cost him his briefcase, but the title as well. And then after WrestleMania, cost McIntyre a shot at the World Heavyweight title. It's just so much this man has done to Drew McIntyre. It just made sense for McIntyre to get this win here.
Yeah, so, and like, there's a line in the promo build to this where Punk said something along the lines of, men who make things happen actually, like, get the job done. Men who dream do not. Because Drew McIntyre said the night after the Rumble, "I prayed for this to happen, and it did. I dreamt that it would happen, and it did." And then Punk has been fucking around with Drew McIntyre like nobody else ever has. Since that point.
By the way, you think there's any good bakeries in Cleveland that Drew McIntyre could have went to after the show? Like some good late night bakeries? Maybe a crumble cookie or a insomnia cookies or a, some place that just sells baked goods and, sweets like that.
No.
I could imagine McIntyre wearing the bracelet, just walking out of a bakery with a big box of muffins and just like, "I'm going to go and share these with the boys in my hotel room."
I'm going to go share this with Jack
Phil,
Perry.
You want one?
What?
"Oh, hey, Phil, you want one?"
I'm going to go share this with my good pal, Tony.
And then McIntyre went back to his hotel and he got Nando's for the boys and they just chilled.
And they had chicken. Yeah, it was really good. Jesus Christ, why are we quoting so many CM Punk podcasts? I don't know, man. Yeah, this match was excellent. I thought 4.25 stars for me. I would say it was more so about the story than it was about the wrestling. That's for sure.
I'm going to agree with you there for sure. As much as I would have loved to see this like a barn burner brawl, and I think this did accomplish that. I'm going to give it 4.25 as well. You cannot say you did not go on an emotional roller coaster with this match.
Totally.
McIntyre and Punk and Rollins and the bracelet and just even though it was heartbreaking to see CM Punk lose, it's just another chapter in the story. If you thought this was going to be a one and done, hell no. These dudes have been at each other's throats since the beginning of the year.
See you at Hell in a Cell. Bad Blood. That's going to be fun.
Bad Blood.
Mm-hmm.
What a crazy, great throwback feud this has been. And this is my favorite thing. This is proof. You can have feuds to this caliber, and there's not a single title on the line. Even though it did revolve around a lot of title, no championship gold in this match.
Nope. It was just personal. These two guys wanted to beat the crap out of each other. It was the match I was most looking forward to. The wrestling was good. The story was phenomenal. CM Punk also did not get injured. So I think on all fronts here, mission accomplished. Really, really good stuff here. So onwards and upwards with this story.
As we are recording, Monday Night Raw is happening, and CM Punk put on Instagram he is in Baltimore. So the story will continue. And considering he is cleared and wrestled last night, we're going to be seeing him on Raw and a lot more now.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait for that. Can't wait to see what he does next. So, with that in mind, up next for the World Heavyweight Championship, El Campeón Damian Priest is defending against the 2024 King of the Ring, Gunther. So, I'm about to eat a serious bowl of crow right here because I picked Seth Rollins to win the World Heavyweight Championship from Damian Priest just to be a transitional champion.
Is crow?
I don't know. Apparently Sting really likes to cook it, but
it's Jason Solomon's favorite meal.
Yeah, I'm eating a big bowl of crow right now because I did not think that you could have an effective heel versus heel match for a world title at SummerSlam, because technically speaking, Damian Priest was a heel, but this build, excellent, because it pretty much effectively turned Priest into a pseudo babyface for the time being, because all Gunther can say is that Priest grew up street trash, and it's like the classic old school wrestling feud that you've seen before, a clash of the classes, essentially. Gunther is the sophisticated, he's the well-spoken heel. Damian Priest is the guy that grew up on the streets. He's rough and tough. He's a badass.
That's for shoot, by the way. After WrestleMania, Damian Priest went on account to say, you guys need to understand that like 15 years ago, I was sleeping out of my car.
Yeah.
And now he's the world heavyweight champion of the biggest wrestling organization in the world. If Damian Priest doesn't encourage you to go out there and try, I don't know what will.
Yeah, he's an inspiration. He really is, and he's been a phenomenal world heavyweight champion. So, I didn't think that this match was, like, the spot to crown Gunther. Like, Gunther was going to be crowned either way, but I feel like it would have meant, like, the victory would have meant more, like, had it been Rollins, but with the way it played out, I'm so glad it was Priest. So glad it was
Priest
in the spot.
In 4 weeks, I did a total 180 about my feelings about this match and how it was gonna play out. Because after Gunther won King of the Ring and Damian Priest retained that Money in the Bank, my first thought was this is going to be a good match, but it is a foregone conclusion that Gunther is going to win the title. But as the weeks went on and the more promos they started doing, I started getting behind Damian Priest. And especially in this match, I was watching this match going, I want this motherfucker to retain. I would be so happy if Damian Priest would have retained this title.
I would have been happy either way.
And it worked both ways. This match was very good. The sheer definition of a hoss fight. These guys were beating the holy fuck out of each other.
So this was my match of the night. Again, I'm going to be eating some serious crow right now because I didn't think this match was going to be all that special if it was heel versus heel. This crowd was very much behind Damian Priest. Gunther, I feel like, is never capable of having a bad match. Ever. This guy goes in there, and if you were to create a professional wrestler in a lab, like the prototype of what you think a classic, old school, like 1960s pro wrestling heel would look like, and translate that to modern television, you're looking at him. It's Gunther, the ring general. These guys are chopping each other like I've never seen people chop each other in their lives. Damian Priest was absolutely bringing the heat to Gunther. Gunther chops him, and then Priest is like, "Is that all you got, boy?" I think he said something along those lines there. But Priest was chopping. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can you believe that Priest chopped Gunther so hard that he broke skin?
He did. He did.
Like, Gunther's selling is just on another level here because Gunther takes the chop and then he chops Priest so hard that he goes down. But then Gunther starts looking at his chest and he starts rubbing his blood on his chest. And that was a look of the man that was just like, you looked at that and thought, Gunther may be unstoppable, but he's not immortal. Like,
yeah.
For the first time in his career, Gunther is used to being the predator, but he was the prey. Like, Damian Priest came to fucking fight.
He saw the blood trickling down his chest. He rubs it off a little bit, and then he starts rubbing it through his hair. What an animal!
He's never seen his own blood before.
Yeah, like, and this is a guy.
This is the first person to take it to him that hard.
This is also a guy who is coming off a go home Raw where he was taking on Finn Balor in the main event, a match that I didn't think we were ever gonna get. Because they were building up Gunther versus Finn Balor for the NXT United Kingdom title right before the pandemic, and then COVID hit. Finn Balor did not go to the UK ever, so we never got him versus Gunther. Yeah, so I'm glad we did. Gunther was putting over the sleeper hold as a new finisher, so I figured that was going to play into this finish, and that's exactly what it did.
About Gunther. He has like 5 finishers, and they are the simplest finishers you've ever seen in your life. I've seen this man win with a lariat. I've seen this man win with a straight-up chop. I've seen him win with a powerbomb, and now he's using a sleeper hold. You could tell it was Vince's call to give him the last symphony because that is such a stupid move, and Gunther did not need it.
No. Also, he beat The Miz at Survivor Series last year with the Walls of Jericho, which is a huge troll move.
Boston Crab.
Yeah, well, it was the Walls of Jericho though, because The Miz was looking to crack Jericho's record.
Crab.
It was a
Boston Crab.
Yeah, this match was amazing. It really was. The crowd was eating it up. There were a couple of points where the crowd would get a little bit distracted by stuff that was going on. Like, I think there were other issues with the screen. Flashback to WrestleMania 39, where people were chanting, "Fix the screen," or "We can't see," or something like that. And when they did fix the screen, thank God they did to play into this finish. And once they did fix the screen, like, the crowd would pop really big, and Gunther looked around all distracted. And I'm like, yeah.
So Finn Balor makes his way to the ring, and I don't know why this took a couple minutes to kick into what was going to happen. Balor goes to the ring. He's supporting Damian Priest, and you should have saw it coming also because it was just Balor. No Carlito, no JD McDonough, but Balor gets on the apron, and Gunther knocks him down. And that just fuels Damian Priest. Like, you just touched my friend.
You touched my midget Irish friend, big boy.
Yes. Priest goes on a huge tear, big offense. And this, I understand why they did this, but does Damian Priest just get like stage fright when he's on pay-per-views? Because I feel like
I don't know.
He wrestles, something happens. And I don't want to get in Priest's cage too much. So he hits the south side of heaven onto Gunther. Right in the middle of the ring. And what does he do? He rolls Gunther towards the ropes.
Yeah, not after. So Gunther had already kicked out of the South of Heaven chokeslam earlier on, and then Finn Balor runs out. Gunther gets in Finn's face. Damian Priest makes his fiery comeback. He hits the Razor's Edge. Don't you miss when that was a finisher? And now it's like a signature move to set up for the South of Heaven.
Well, that's not the Razor's Edge. That's Priest's Edge.
Yeah, he should have hit Cody Rhodes' finisher in this match, huh? Should have hit the lights. Yeah, he should have hit Crossroads, right? Should have hit the Reckoning. He should have
hit the lights.
The Reckoning.
Remember when Damian Priest's gimmick is that he was a rock star?
Remember when Damian Priest's gimmick was that he was Jekyll and Hyde, literally?
Yes.
Man,
Damian is evil, and Priest is everything that is good. I got some theories that would prove that wrong. Anywho,
Jesus Christ, we're living in a good timeline.
Here's the moment where the men cried.
Yeah.
Here's the moment where the men cried. So Priest, for some reason, rolls Gunther over to the ropes, and I thought, like, oh, well, this is gonna be the big rope break spot again. I didn't see the execution going this way, but 1, 2, Balor grabs Gunther's foot and puts it on the rope. I was watching this like at 8 o'clock in the morning. I shot up from my bed and I go, what the fuck, Balor?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And they showed the replay. And for the first time ever, Damian Priest for a split second was not a dumb baby face because they come back from the replay and Priest is looking up at the screen going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he turns over to Balor, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
And Gunther slaps on the sleeper hold, and I was cheering. Like,
Balor,
oh, come on, Priest.
Can we also say that Balor looked so evil in that moment? Like, this did not look like an accident, and this looks like the Prince that we got from 2 years ago. And I'm so happy to see where this story goes next. So Priest looks over at Balor, and it's the Et tu, Brute moment, like Brutus stabbing Julius Caesar right in the back.
But right before that, Gunther has the sleeper hold on him, and Priest is able to get out of it and get Gunther off for a second. But does he go for the offense? No. He immediately goes for Balor and wraps his hands around his neck. And that's where Priest is a dumb babyface, because Gunther once again slaps on the sleeper hold, and Priest can do nothing but go to sleep.
Yes. Yeah. So Gunther becomes the World Heavyweight Champion. Can we talk about that aspect of this first? So happy for Gunther. This was the logical next step. Like, once he lost that Intercontinental title, I'm like, okay, now this opens up the door for him to take that next level that Vince McMahon would have never booked him in. Never.
You want to look at the evolution of Gunther. Go back and watch him from like 2008. He was just this chubby dude from Austria trying to get his name, humble, very humble individual, trying to get his name into professional wrestling because he loved nothing more than pro wrestling. When he says the ring is sacred, he means it. And from here to progress, to evolve, I will never forget the NXT UK takeover where Pete Dunne had retained his NXT UK title, I think against Joe Coffey. And as he's celebrating in the ring, the music hits and you just see the name on the screen, Walter. And the first thing I thought was, who the fuck is this guy? And when I saw him come out, I go, I don't know who this guy is, but he seems like a big fucking deal.
He was a huge deal. He was PWG World Champion for God knows how long. He held the NXT UK title for 870 days. Held the Intercontinental title for 666 days, a Damian number, ironically enough. That is a record that still stands today. And now here he sits looking awesome with this big gold belt. He goes,
wow, we've sure come a long way from him getting buried by Roman Reigns at Survivor Series 2019, haven't we?
That's exactly where I was going with this. Because, yes, he did win the Intercontinental Championship a month before the Wall Street Journal articles came out about Vince. But you cannot convince me, no pun intended, that geriatric son of a bitch would not have booked Gunther and protected Gunther like Hunter is doing. You cannot convince me otherwise.
If Vince McMahon was booking the product during that reign, Gunther would have dropped the title. He would have went on a long losing streak and would have gotten to the point where he would have been sitting backstage at SmackDown, someone interviewing him, and him going, yeah, I don't know what to do. He goes to stand up, and his tights tear. And that would have been his gimmick.
Yep.
He's the guy who splits his pants.
And then he would have been quietly released to bumper stock price. But Triple H has done such a masterful job at presenting Gunther like the final boss of the main roster.
The original.
The OG final boss. Because The Rock is not the final boss to me. Gunther is the final boss. Like...
Are you sure about that, Zach? He paid a lot of money to get the commentators to say that every 15 seconds.
Yeah. Well,
every time you say the final boss, The Rock gets $1.
Yeah. Final boss engaged. Final boss. So.
Anywho, but we're here to talk about Gunther. But everything you said about Gunther is 100% true. Believe it or not, that was an afterthought to me because I couldn't help but look at that ring and be heartbroken that Finn Balor put the knife in Damian Priest's back. Yeah. All over petty jealousy. Petty jealousy that stemmed from Balor is upset that Damian Priest doesn't want his help anymore. He is upset that Damian Priest does not rely on the Judgment Day anymore.
Yeah. And SummerSlam 2024 will always be known as the show where the implosion of the Judgment Day occurred. Because not only did we get this betrayal, remember the opener where Rhea Ripley was stabbed in the back by Dirty Dom? I don't know what this new iteration of the Judgment Day is going to look like. If we're going to get a new iteration of the Judgment Day, I'm sure we are. Because Finn is still one half of the tag champions with Funko Pop McDonough. So we're bound to get a new, I'm gonna miss the old Judgment Day though. I don't know if it's gonna feel the same.
Siri, play Leave them. Fuck, I fucked the joke up. Hey Siri, play Leave the Memories Alone.
Yeah. Leave the memories alone.
The way it is.
The
way it used to be.
Talk about a stable that I thought was going to be dead in the water, and then Triple H took over creative, and he saw the talent that was involved in the Judgment Day, and he was like, no. We're not going to do any supernatural shit with this. They became
Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest doing before this. I'll tell you what. Rhea Ripley was in a random tag team with Nikki Cross. Finn Balor was jobber number one.
Yep.
The guy that just went out there and put people over. And what was Damian Priest doing? He was having a weird bipolar gimmick where he would just randomly turn in the middle of a match, and it was going nowhere.
Yeah. So then they all were put together in a stable that at the time was led by Edge. And then they excommunicated Edge in a move that I did not think made any sense whatsoever at the time when Finn Balor was added to the group. And then they decided to cut the dead weight because Edge did not want the Judgment Day to become supernatural, which was Vince's original idea. So I'm so happy that the Judgment Day is as fun to watch as they have been. Their clubhouse is a lot of you just feel like you're hanging with the boys every time it cuts to the clubhouse. It's so much fun to watch. And to think that all of these problems of the Judgment Day could have been avoided if they kept R-Truth. That's.
I was just about to say something along those lines.
Yeah.
I was gonna say R-Truth's gonna be heartbroken tonight. He's gonna go up to JD McDonough and say, "Why'd you do it, dog? Why'd you turn on Damian Priest?"
I hope he does that. I don't even care. I hope he does that because it was a lot funnier than what he did on this show.
And that is proof that R-Truth really was the glue that held that group together.
Yeah. I mean, he wanted to be a part of the Judgment Day ever since he was born, right? When he came out of the womb, he wanted to be a member of the Judgment Day.
First thing he said when he was born. Hey, Siri, play Leave the Memory Alone by Fuel.
Yeah, so I'm going to miss this OG Judgment Day. And if we get a new version with Liv Morgan popping in, I don't know. I hope not either.
Really hope we don't. You look at where it is now, this fragmented Judgment Day. Sure, Balor and McDonough are the champions, but I mean, if the rumors are true.
Yeah.
The rumors are true.
And then Damian Priest is going to cost Finn Balor the tag titles, and then the Hardy Boys are going to take those belts with them to the Hall of Fame.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I never said the Hardy Boys. My fingers are doing this weird thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm having muscle spasms.
Should probably see a doctor about that.
I'm sure the tag titles are going to be dealt with maybe as early as tonight. I don't know. Liv Morgan and Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio are now a thing. Rhea Ripley's going to be solely focused on that. Priest is going to want to fucking murder Balor, and Carlito's just going to be sitting in the back, chewing on an apple, wondering what the
fuck was that? What the fuck was that?
All of the decisions he made that led to this moment.
Yeah, so this is living proof right here that, again, the Judgment Day I thought was dead in the water, but then Hunter revived it out of absolutely nothing and did exactly what you should do with every single stable. Every member of the stable comes out of it looking better than they did before they joined. So, exactly what you said. That's what every stable should be doing. But this match of the night, 4 3/4 stars, I think. I would give it 5, but that whole little hiccup looked a bit contrived, actually rolling Gunther towards the ropes.
I really enjoyed this match. I think McIntyre and Punk is a little better for me because I just love that story so much. I'm going to give this 4 stars. I hope that's not diminishing the quality of this match. Fair enough. It was very, very, very good. And again, the outcome did not play out the way I expected it to. I remember bringing this up as a concept like a month ago saying, oh, well, maybe Balor can cost Priest the title, but I didn't think they were going to go through with it. Not at SummerSlam, but here we are, and it was heart-wrenching. Absolutely heart-wrenching to witness.
And now, yeah, everybody's wanting to build up to Priest and Balor as early as, Bad Blood. And I'm like, you could carry this feud all the way to WrestleMania if you play your cards right. You could get Damian Priest against Demon Finn Balor.
You could.
You could get that. Just saying.
Damian Priest fighting the Ultimate Evil. Sign me the fuck up for that.
Yeah, me too. I'm down. Save it for Mania.
Okay. Let's get this out of the way. I almost forgot. God. Because this was a jam-packed card. We have to settle down a little before the main event. I'll make this quick and painless, Zach, I promise.
Okay.
The Miz was the host for SummerSlam. You wouldn't know because he only showed up one time prior, and that was right as the show started. And, the host for the host for SummerSlam basically means I'm here to announce the attendance number. Apparently there was 59,000.
Yeah, something like that. It was the American attendance record for a SummerSlam. It's the second highest attended SummerSlam after 1992, which was in Wembley, of course. Probably not the last time we're gonna see a Big Four WWE event in Wembley. Just saying.
And Miz announces the attendance number, and R-Truth looks around and says, "Wow, you got a big house, Miz." And they're going back and forth. They are interrupted by Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Hey, look, both sets of former tag team champions here.
Yeah, no room for DIY, but you can put both sets of former tag team champions on this in a dumb segment.
Would you rather have this or DIY and the Bloodline wrestling the Crickets?
I would have rather had them in the second match on the show after the women's match while the crowd was still hot and they could still give Johnny Gargano the reception that he fucking deserves. So
I don't know, man. I didn't want to see DIY an afterthought on this show.
Nah, yeah, I get that. I get that. So my heart breaks for him though.
Waller and Theory are just jaw-jacking with Awesome Truth. Truth makes a joke that I honestly can't even remember.
This was my problem.
He calls Waller and Theory the Rock and Roll Express.
Doesn't make it
Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson.
Doesn't make any fucking sense. It really doesn't. So I'm sorry, R-Truth. If you see Theory and Waller as Gibson and Morton, you clearly do not remember what the Rock and Roll Express looked like, or you never watched the Rock and Roll Express. You just came up with a random tag team name, the first tag team that came to your mind.
I mean, to be fair, R-Truth's childhood hero is John Cena, so R-Truth probably wasn't even around when the Rock and Roll Express were in their heyday.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that joke is kind of worn thin. Like, it's like when he mistakes DIY for DX, that's actually funny because those guys could actually pass for looking like Hunter and Sean. I don't see like, what are you smoking to see Rock and Roll Express out of A-Town Down Under? Like,
I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because this was really irrelevant at the end of the day. While Theory and Waller are jaw-jacking with Awesome Truth, Jelly Roll comes in the ring with the steel chair. He hits Waller with the chair. He performs a very impressive one-arm chokeslam to Theory, and then Jelly Roll and Awesome Truth do a 15-knuckle shuffle to Theory. I will say this. I do appreciate Triple H booking celebrities in two ways. Number one, it's not fucking stupid. And number two, Jelly Roll is actually a huge wrestling fan. So this was probably a big mark out moment for him. So this was innocent. And you know what? If you really didn't like this, I really hope you went to use the bathroom during this segment.
Yeah, Theory, like, I did like the Jelly Roll stuff. That stuff was awesome. Good for him for getting in the ring and doing this. And Theory was in orbit on that chokeslam, wasn't he?
One-armed fucking chokeslam.
Jeez, yeah. Crazy. Like, they got some air on that one, dude.
Like, if Jelly Roll's favorite wrestler isn't Kane, then I want to know what inspired him to do that.
Well, I don't...
was a one-armed dunk slam of a choke slam by Kane.
Probably the Big Show. Because nobody's favorite wrestler is Kane right now. But anyway, main event time. What do we got?
Okay, here we go. And let me get all of my thoughts about this now before you. I know what you're going to say about this. In the main event of SummerSlam, it is now Bloodline rules for the WWE Championship. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defending against the Tribal Heir Solo Sikoa. Okay, let me get this out of the way right now.
Okay.
And I understand. This may have not have felt like a SummerSlam main event by Solo Sikoa's entrance alone. But I'm going to give credit to Cody Rhodes. No matter what, no matter who he's wrestling, he tried his damnness to make this match feel important. Solo Sikoa makes his entrance. They cut to Cody in the back. He's taking Pharaoh on his last walk or around the concourse.
Hold on. Shouldn't Cody Rhodes be in Gorilla? Like, if his match is up next, like, shouldn't he not be on his bus at this point?
No, because Pharaoh needs his exercise before he goes to bed.
That's true.
Okay?
That's very true. Yeah. So, joking aside, yes, Cody Rhodes takes his beloved Siberian Husky out for one final walk with Pharaoh on the road. Because, as Cody said during the press conference, Pharaoh is getting up there in age. Pharaoh is 13 years old. Not dying, but Pharaoh is still very much thriving. But since he is getting older, he can't really travel that much anymore. And he did joke during the presser that Pharaoh has more so become Liberty's dog than Cody's. So, which is very adorable hearing that. But
so, Cody's taking Pharaoh for a walk. He hands him off to one of his American Nightmare family members. He continues walking down to make his way to Gorilla, and he comes face to face with Arn Anderson.
Oh, this made me so happy because his contract with AEW just expired, so they were happy to bring Arn in for a cameo. Didn't have his Denny's menu with him for whatever reason, like, you know, as Cody's head coach. Cody's jacket actually did say WWE quarterback right here on the chest. Like, you know, he had to have the Denny's menu if he's a head coach.
He had to.
Like,
and Arn Anderson gives Cody a hug, and then he slips him a Glock and says, "Don't be afraid to use it, pussy." I'm kidding. Arn Anderson words of encouragement, saying that, you know,
he should have.
Dusty's looking down at you. It was such a nice and tender moment. And that's what I mean by Cody. Oh my God. He is a true star. He is a megastar. He is representing this company with so much class, so much professionalism. And how can you just not like this? I look at Cody Rhodes and I feel so comfortable knowing the WWE is in his hands. So yeah, Cody, I feel so much comfort knowing that the WWE is in Cody Rhodes' hands.
Yeah, and he eventually walks through Gorilla. The crowd is chanting Cody's name, and you see him put the Nightmare mask on that you saw him wear at Mania. Didn't need to do that. But he looks like such a badass.
He's going to fucking war for the blood rules, motherfuckers. Here's the thing. Sure, say what you want. This may have not had the feeling of a SummerSlam main event, but you know what? Cody Rhodes took this so fucking seriously. Mm-hmm. And he at least made me somewhat excited for this.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that they made this Bloodline rules actually made me semi-excited. I know what I said about Solo challenging for this title right now. Like, yeah, they had to do something to add some excitement to this. Because, again, nobody in their right fucking minds actually thought that Solo was beating Cody here. There was one thing that the fans were waiting for, and the whole reason why this match was happening actually did come about. We'll talk about it. But my big problem with this match, go ahead.
With that being said, Solo Sikoa is a good wrestler.
He is! I never said he wasn't. He just was never going to be beating Cody Rhodes here. Never.
I mean, a lot of people, you can say that about a lot of wrestlers. I could look at 99% of the roster and go, there's no way in hell they're beating Cody Rhodes.
Well, at least like some of his other opponents, like AJ Styles and Logan Paul, have been beating people in the build up to this. Like, Solo's been doing nothing of note over the past 2 years except for losing on the house show circuit to LA Knight. Like, I'm just being realistic.
But
well, it's not.
Commentators do bring up one claim to fame that Solo Sikoa has, and that he took out John Cena. They could even say he beat John Cena so badly that Cena feels like he needs to retire now.
I mean, I remember that match happening, but I remember Solo wrestling someone invisible. I didn't see him wrestling anybody.
So let me counteract your argument with this, and I think this really could have helped Solo Sikoa. When he was coming down to the ring, they could have said, these are the list of men that Solo Sikoa has taken out to help Roman Reigns. I know they didn't want to put focus on Roman Reigns, but this is the list of men that Solo Sikoa has taken out. John Cena, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and Cody Rhodes himself. He's the Samoan Hitman for a reason. He's got a hit list of big names. And it is crazy that Solo Sikoa was had more of an aura. He had more of like, you know, more fear put in him when he was Roman Reigns' enforcer. And now here he is as the tribal heir, and he's the leader now of the bloodline. And he honestly, when he was making his entrance, I don't want to win this, but he just looked like another guy.
So, with that said, we were comparing him a couple of years ago to being a baby Umaga with his mannerisms, his silent assassin tendencies, and the fact that he can just obliterate you in any possible moment. The Samoan Spike is his finisher. But now that he's cutting a lot more promos, and now that he has that black towel over his head especially, and with his short stature, I'm seeing Taz out of Solo Sikoa. I'm seeing more so Taz. Not like the absolute savage Taz that you got in ECW, but like the 2000 Taz that was fighting Jerry Lawler at SummerSlam. But anyway,
that's what Sikoa is missing. He needs that savage mentality that we know he has in him.
Yeah,
but
he doesn't anymore.
Okay, you know what this match was? Honestly, when I watched it from start to finish, this was Diet WrestleMania. This was the same structure, the same basis, damn near the same finish, but not to the grand scale it was at WrestleMania.
There was
no Undertaker running in this match.
No way.
It was
no way. This
if
was
I could define this match in one word, it was fine.
It was fun, entertaining enough, but yeah, definitely did not hold a candle to what Roman and Cody did at WrestleMania earlier this year. Because where that felt like a love letter to pro wrestling as it sits, this felt like, how do I put this? So the whole story that they've been building around Solo right now, the crowd is constantly chanting, "We want Roman" at him. The crowd really wants to see Roman Reigns back. Solo says Roman's never coming back. I'm the tribal chief now. He's doing a whole Captain Phillips thing. Look at me. I am the captain now. I got you.
And what did the Bloodline do to Paul Heyman?
Yeah, they did the Shield powerbomb to Paul Heyman through an announce table in Madison Square Garden. So, with that in mind, the whole story that WWE is presenting to you is Roman Reigns is the animated Disney classic, and Solo Sikoa is the live-action remake. That is what
pains me to say that.
Yeah, that's how they're presenting it right now, and I hate to say it because Solo is very talented.
So this match had your usuals. Okay, I will say this: Solo Sikoa's ring psychology in the first portion of this match was very good. Cody Rhodes goes for the classic Dustin Rhodes drop down into a slap, and Solo Sikoa grabs the arm and says, "No, no, no! I know all of your tricks."
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes goes for the Dustin scoop slam. Same thing. Solo Sikoa stops him. Like, you're so predictable, and I know exactly what to expect from you. So he did put a little threat in there to be like, "Motherfucker, my family's been feuding with you for 2 years now. I know all of your tricks.
Is it
I've been studying you."
Is it just me also, or was this crowd a little quiet for the first part of this match?
Because they knew what they were waiting for, and they wanted to save all their energy for that.
Yeah, well, number one, it's also because they weren't reacting to any of the near falls because nobody in that fucking stadium knew that. Nobody in that fucking stadium believed that Solo was winning, number one. And number two...
there were honestly a couple of falls where I was like, damn, that was close.
Yeah.
And I think, especially near the end, there was a certain combo that they hit on Cody Rhodes. I was like, oh, that was a little too close for comfort.
Yeah,
so
but even
they
still,
tried in this match.
Even
they
still,
really did.
I was like, no, Solo's not winning this thing. And number two, like, they knew because of the Bloodline rules label and them being accustomed to what they saw at Mania that nothing was going to matter until the interference started. And that's,
again, just like at WrestleMania, but the difference is WrestleMania still had that anxiety in the first part of the match. Like, when's it going to start? What's going to happen? We didn't know what Bloodline rules was. Like, how crazy was this going to get considering the build?
And Roman and Cody have phenomenal chemistry as well. Cody and Solo haven't really wrestled that much against each other, to my knowledge, one-on-one. But to our point, where we're going with this is we see the Gorillas of Destiny make their way down to the ring. Tama Tonga and Camacho are beating the crap out of Cody. Camacho almost misses the corner.
Which also, I love Michael Cole for referring to them as the Gorillas of Destiny.
Yeah,
I don't know
which
if
is awesome.
Copyright and the Tongans don't want to use that just in case. Well, I mean, you heard the new thing with WWE. WWE cannot trademark names. Like, there's a whole trademark thing going on. So I'm pretty sure they could use GOD, and if they leave WWE, they can continue being GOD.
Oh yeah, they absolutely can. But with that, they start beating up Cody, and per Bloodline rules, this is all legal. Then we get Kevin Owens' music hitting. Kevin Owens was taken out after being Pillmanized on SmackDown by the Gorillas of Destiny.
I will admit, once God started the attack, it's kind of just like, if you were in that stadium, I hope you stood up and just looked at the entranceway, because it's like, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's going to happen.
You know what was funny is, Kevin Owens was probably hanging out with Randy Orton backstage, and then they both see that Cody is, being beaten down 2-on-1, and then Randy was probably like, all right, Kevin, you're up. go help him. Go help him. And then
what
Kevin.
A random tag team they are.
Yeah, I know, right? RKO. Get it? RKO. Anyway.
Thankfully for you, Kevin Owens is really good at random tag teams. Hell, he was a random tag team on the Indies with Johnny Gargano called Panda Express.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That sounds like an awesome team.
Panda Bears.
Yes. So Kevin runs down there. He gets overwhelmed. And then you get Randy's music hitting. Now Randy decides to even the odds. And let's also say that Randy was taking his sweet-ass time getting down to the ring. He was high-fiving people on the way down. He was jogging. And it's a long entrance ramp, too. Like, there was no... Like, I love you, Randy, but there was no urgency on your part to get down there to help your buddy. So they fight off the Gorillas of Destiny. It's back to one-on-one. Cody ends up hitting a crossroads for a near fall. And then he goes for another crossroads. He goes for that trifecta. And then we get Solo's enforcer. One of my boys, the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, whisper in the wind to Cody. And I'm like, God, I wish this was Cody versus Fatu. But I know I have to let it simmer. I know. It's too early.
I told him, no, this is something different. When I was watching this match, I tell this guy, Orton and Owens come out and they take out God. And I'm like, that's great and all, but what the fuck are you going to do when Jacob Fatu shows up, Cody Rhodes? Because this man is unstoppable. And the minute I saw Fatu, I'm like, have fun dealing with that. And actually, the way they dealt with him was pretty surprising. So they beat the fuck out of Cody. And then they put him on the announce table, and Fatu does that amazing Samoan splash from the top rope through the announce table, but he fucks up his knee.
Now,
that was actually brilliant.
Now, yeah, so a lot of people were very concerned, myself included, that Jacob Fatu is legitimately hurt. I cannot confirm or deny it. I really, really hope that he's not legitimately hurt and he didn't fracture his tibia. Yeah,
I think he's fine.
You know what? Yeah, again, I don't want to jump to conclusions or anything right now, though. But if he is legitimately hurt, like, that fucking sucks. Like, it's horrible timing. Yeah.
I think it was just, this was their way of protecting Fatu, as they should. Like, they didn't want anyone to come out and take him out because he is unstoppable. The only way to slow him down was, like, he did what he was supposed to do, but fuck, now his knee is hurt. So
and he's yelling. He's yelling at Solo to finish the story. I know, finish the story.
So this was the spot that scared me, because that was a nasty splash through the table, and then he gets thrown back in the ring, nailed with a Samoan spike, the closest near fall we're gonna get in this match, and Cody kicks out. Everybody's down, and then I wasn't expecting, again, execution, was not expecting this. For the first time since WrestleMania, that beautiful orchestral rendition hits. Roman fucking Reigns. The big dog, the tribal chief, is back. And I've never heard such a genuine for him.
I think this is Hunter's last fuck you to Vince McMahon. Because you remember a decade ago when Vince was trying to shove this guy down our throats, and we didn't, and we as the fans wanted nothing to do with him as the top babyface because we did not think he was ready. This is how you organically build up the big dog as one of your top baby faces. Roman Reigns comes out, and he is wearing a brand spanking new t-shirt, which I'm sure is selling like hotcakes right now. It says OTC on the front.
You pre-ordered it.
I did not. So it says OTC on the front, and I can confirm that this, in fact, does stand for Orange Teriyaki Chicken, Roman Reigns' favorite Chinese dish. That's a tribute right there. That's a flex.
That fucking sounds delicious.
I know, right?
I love some orange teriyaki chicken right now.
Me too.
But Roman Reigns makes his way to the ring, and the commentators bring up a really good point. Considering he's coming out in the match, it had me questioning it too. They said, who is he here for? Is he here for Solo Sikoa, who has overtaken the family and took out Paul Heyman in his absence? Or is he coming for Cody Rhodes, who took the WWE Championship away from him at WrestleMania. But that was quickly answered when Roman Reigns got into the ring and without hesitation, cocks and loads the gun and knocks the fuck out of Solo Sikoa with the Superman punch, hits him with a spear, and this kind of shocked me here. Cody Rhodes is distraught. He actually takes the assist from Roman Reigns. They have this wonderful moment where they lock eyes and just like, it's like they both acknowledge each other. And Roman Reigns is like, I'm not here to help you, and don't think I've forgotten you yet. And Cody Rhodes is like, understood. I ain't done with you either. And
Roman,
that look alone was just like, this rematch is going to happen.
Yeah. I don't know how soon it's going to happen, but yeah, Roman stares a dagger through Cody Rhodes. This is our new Rockin' Austin right here. Yeah, our exactly. 2 top baby faces.
Don't think I'm fucking done with you yet, because I'm not.
Yeah. So Cody then very smartly does not pin Solo off the spear. He picks Solo up and he hits the crossroads one more time, pins Solo Sikoa. Everybody predicted that finish, all while staring at Roman Reigns on the entrance ramp. And Roman just looks at Cody and he's like, yeah, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you, champ.
Think about it this way. The next time these guys fight, there's going to be no Bloodline, no Paul Heyman, no The Rock. It's a fresh new scenario for Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. I do love that after the match, you have your 3 components right there. Reigns walking up the ramp looking at Rhodes, Rhodes looking at Reigns like, what the fuck just happened? And Solo Sikoa is on the outside screaming his head off because his grand plan did not work.
His Christian-style temper tantrum on the outside while Jacob Fatu is holding him up.
I will give the match 3.5 stars. It accomplished exactly what it needed to accomplish. Was it the most exciting match? No. It got fun around the end, and it was fun to watch. I understand. I truly 100% understand. But everybody else in return needs to understand this was the only way to get Roman Reigns back.
Yep.
The only way.
And that's how we got there. It wasn't really about the title. I mean, it was about the title because it was on the line, but that's all really anyone is talking about is Roman Reigns and his comeback. I told you last month. That's what we're talking about. And in all seriousness, I'm very happy to see him back. I'm very happy to see him kick all sorts of ass. And I'm very, very excited to see how they build him up down the line. Maybe him and The Rock in Las Vegas. Like, I would love that as one of the main events, but that remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. But this show, top tier.
I like this show a lot.
Yeah.
I liked all of the storytelling that was told in this match. And I understand both sides of the coin. So with that being said, I'm going to give this show a 7.75 out of 10. Just a little shy of an 8, just because, you know what? I will admit the main event could have been stronger. There are some of these matches on here that were very good, and I give it all the props. But I think what every single match on this card was missing was kicking it into that third gear. If some of these matches would have kicked into that third gear, like a Punk and McIntyre, definitely like Cody and Sikoa, and maybe Gunther and Priest to a degree, I would have loved them a lot more. They would have been in the 4.5, 4.75 star range for me. Though, again, love the show, and I love everything that the show gave. I think that's what it was missing at the end of the day. Just kicking it into that third gear.
I'm going to go an 8.25 out of 10, actually. I think the stories that were told on this show were immaculate. Main event maybe wasn't like up to snuff with some of the greatest SummerSlam main events of all time. Damian Priest versus Gunther was unfucking believable. Punk and McIntyre was a great story. Liv and Rhea in the opener was awesome. Yeah, I mean, just all around good booking, and it makes me very excited again to be a WWE fan with this. And the train never stops with the ZNT wrestling show.
Letter grade, I think a solid B. I almost said B minus. I'm like, oh, that's a little harsh. A solid B for me.
I think I'm going to go solid B plus, a Daniel Bryan special right there. So hit that subscribe button if you're new, thumbs up as well if you haven't already. Tomas and I are going to continue talking about all things wrestling over here. Bash in Berlin is coming up at the end of the month. But right before that, we got AEW All In Wembley Stadium, the second ever, headlined by Swerve and Bryan in a title versus career match now. So it might be the last time we ever talk about a Bryan Danielson match. Probably not. That probably means Bryan's winning the belt.
For a while. A while.
Yeah, and
but also don't forget our next retrospective is going to be WrestleMania 22. Big show.
Yeah.
Keep on rolling. It's going to be a fun time on the ZNT show. It's great to be back on the saddle and doing these reviews. They are just they're low-key a therapy session for me. So thank you for giving me an outlet to talk all things pro wrestling and just be a goofball. We love talking about men in spandex fighting each other and women fighting each other over belts.
And figure 4 leg locks, scissoring each other in the middle of the ring, as Lindsay would say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, guys, subscribe if you haven't already. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't be subscribed at this point, but yeah, thank you again so much. And commence that back talk. Let us know what you thought of that show. And see you guys next time.